Ooh, it is good to be back. Let me tell you. I mean, minus the snow, but it is good to be back home. As fun as it is to go travel and obviously to see United play live, it is good to be back home. We kick off the new year with the return of a classic rivalry as Manchester United travels to Ellen Road, take on Leeds United, who are doing pretty well this season. We're going to talk about that. It's been a few years since we faced Leeds in a competitive match, aside for some friendlies, but something tells me this is not going to be as straightforward as it was the last time we played League in the Leeds. They are a different animal right now. We're also going to be looking at some transfer window talk as well, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about because January window is officially opening. So lots of questions. Will we strengthen in January? Will we see any exits? Are we going to be in the same sell to buy scenario that we seem to have been stuck in for a number of years? New owners, same shit, right? We're exploring all this today, you guys. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So happy New Year. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If this is your first time, nice to meet you. If it's not, glad to have you back. But don't be afraid to introduce yourself in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to know where everybody gets hold of the channel from, and let us know what your favorite United memories are and all that whatnot as we go along. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in and get this started. First up, and I can't help but do this again, another big shout out to Angelo, who runs the Red Star souvenir shop in Manchester, literally just around the corner from Old Trafford. I mean, literally right across the street from Bishop Blaze. But yeah, Angelo, top man. Honestly, we talked a little bit about this the other day, but Angelo chatted with Dylan and I for quite a bit. Obviously, we showed you from the reaction video that first night, gifted both of us a United coffee table book. We chatted with him probably 15-20 minutes one night, and then another 10 minutes or so later on. Top man, you guys. But yeah, if you're ever down and around Old Trafford for a match, make sure to go stop by Red Star souvenir shop and say hello to Angelo. Let him know that Sean and Dylan from the Midwest sent you, and they say hi. He will remember it, I swear. But yeah, top man. Really good to meet some genuine folks like that. I love doing that. I always like throwing shout outs. So like the first time Justin and I went to Old Trafford, this was years ago, obviously the 22-23 season, I think it was, for Real Betis. The first night, so innocuous. If you've ever been, just the whole stadium surrounded by food trucks and whatnot. But just random woman runs just a simple, but she talked to Justin and I for like 30-40 minutes that first night, man. She was super nice, very lovely, hooked us up. And so every time now, that's where I go to get my food right before the match. I go to her truck. I don't care if she recognizes me. I don't care if she remembers my name. I don't care if she sits and talks to me that long anymore. But she was absolutely lovely the first time, so we always make sure to go there. Big up, Rich. Rich is in the house. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good holiday, my friend. Just can't stand. Yes, it is the return of the rivalry. I hesitate to bring up the War of the Roses. I know there's a lot of history there, so we will sidestep that potential landmine. But it is a bit of a rivalry. It was one of the matches, Rich, that I was looking forward to this season when they got promoted again, because it's good to have that kind of stuff. I do look forward to like Liverpool matches and whatnot. No, Chelsea's not a rival. No, City's not a rival. Try as they must. God bless their hearts. City are not rivals. They're just not. But I would consider Leeds more of a rival than City. But it is what it is. But yeah, Red Star souvenir shop. Good to see you, Rich. Moving on. So this happened as well, in case any of you guys have seen it. This according to FootMob, so everybody kind of follows a different app, website, whatever. I use a lot of FootMob stuff. It's a really good place to go after the match and just look at percentiles, XGs, completions. You click on every player in the 11 and give you the stats. It's good little one-stop shop. But FootMob does obviously their Premier League Player of the Year, and they have voted that Bruno Fernandes is the Premier League Player of the Year for the calendar year 2025, not season, calendar year. So in all of 2025, Bruno has been FootMob's Player of the Years for the Premier League. So, and it's really ridiculous. Speaking of Bruno, have you guys seen this this release clause stuff that came out? I meant to talk to you guys about this the other day while we were in Manchester. Obviously, all stuff going on. We will do a show about that. The next kickabout coming around next Wednesday. Dylan and I will share some more photos and we'll talk about the trip a little bit, because obviously it was Dylan's first time. And it was a banger of a first time. If you guys have been following along, if you anyone in the WhatsApp group, the starting 11 and Legends members will get some photos. Obviously, I've been posting some on the channel's page as well. Had a bit of a blast. But yeah, so we will be talking about the match, the experience, who was his favorite experiences, obviously sharing some more photos. And we will also be doing a report card for our most recent signings, starting with Patrick Dorgu and the players we signed this summer. So next week's Kickabout Manchester trip, Phil and I just got back from, and report card grading our signings this past 2025 as well. So make sure to come back for that. But yeah, this 52.5 million release clause that supposedly Bruno has for non-Premier League clubs is a bit of a piss take, in my opinion. I'm not sure who thought that was a good idea to do. I'm not sure what idiot stick decided to throw that in there, but absolute annoying. So we could have had him for a lot of money maybe this past summer, and now we can probably get half of what we got because of some idiot stick release clause. Someone needs to get on that real quick and change that, man. Debazi's in the house, does not think we will make any signings this window. Well, we're about ready to talk about some transfers here, but we're just wrapping up a little bit of congrats. But hey, big up Debazi. Hope you had a good New Year's, man. Happy New Year to everybody involved in the chat. I do have a poll out there because we are going to preview this Leeds match as well. But yeah, get your predictions in for the result as well. So moving on from Bruno, winning FootMob's Premier League Player of 2025, let's talk about some transfer news, because all sorts of stuff already kicking off. Yes, it's a couple days into January. No signings yet for anyone who's keeping track, but it hasn't stopped the news. So we've got a little something from Simon Jones here regarding Sporting Lisbon right back Salvador Blopa, who we've spoken about I think it was last month when we were first linked. And then we've already spoken about left back Yisa Alau, who plays for Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Simon Jones basically reiterating that United have interest in Salvador Blopa, basically plays that same position as Giovanni Quenda, who you remember Chelsea signed on a pre-contract basically. But Simon Jones says, reminding us we're still interested. It sounds like we could do something there. According to Simon Jones, we have fielded a £450,000 pound offer for Yisa Alau, who is on the right-hand side of the screen there. So looking at young left backs, Harry Amas is at Sheffield Wednesday right now on loan. Who knows what's going to happen? Supposedly his loan is supposed to be up this month. That we're working around that, but obviously Sheffield are having a bit of financial issues. It's important for these youngsters to get minutes, so we'll see what happens there. I read someplace that I think Stoke were maybe interested in bringing Harry Amas on loan there as well, but we'll see. But yes, Salvador Blopa, right wing back, plays for Sporting. We haven't really tapped into a whole lot of Sporting players, which I know a lot of people said we would under Amorim. We haven't really done that. I told you, it's just lazy journalism. But yes, apparently we have put in that offer that we talked about a couple weeks for Yisa Alau as well. Another left back, we got Harry Amas, Diego Leon as well. We've got Comison coming through. We've got Montato coming through as well. James Overy is a right back who will be going out on loan. I think he just went on loan if I remember correctly. So we will see what happens there. But just wanted to remind you guys that we are looking at youngsters around Europe and in and around England as well. These two have been reiterated. Another youngster that we've already spoken about, Yan Diomande. Ben Jacobs had a little something to add about this guy, who apparently, United are interested. He said suitors feel that a deal for Yan Diomande could be possible for closer to £52.5 million. Remember, we got this report coming out last couple weeks that Yan Diomande was going to cost anywhere close to like 80, 90, 100 million, even obviously coming through Leipzig. They're well known for basically being a selling club. Leipzig, obviously, they just had Nusa, who went off to bigger and better. Oh, is Nusa still there? No, they got Nusa from Club Brugge. That's right. But another player who a lot of you guys really like, we scouted him a couple weeks ago on the channel in that scouting report. Go check that out. I've started adding timestamps to the comments of these scouting reports, so it's easier for you guys to find certain players. I put the names, the positions, and where they play right now. So easy for you guys to stay organized. Shanta, what up? Welcome. Does Yan Diomande play wingback? It's a good question. I don't remember off the top of my, because this was probably 3 weeks ago that we did a scouting report on him. I don't remember off the top of my head what his defensive numbers would look like. I could look it up real quick, but he is a left winger, likes to cut into. Is basically a Rashford Garnacho style. I think a lot of people are really rating him a lot more highly than those. I think maybe that has a lot to do with the history there. But let's see what his numbers are off the ball. Let me look these up real quick. Remember, these numbers are going to be compared to wingers, so it's not going to be compared to like left backs or full backs because he doesn't play that position. The boss says Agent Ahmad better be best buddies with him, right? So he does have 6 goals, 2 assists in are not in all comps in Bundesliga this season. His tackles, interceptions are well above average compared to wingers. So compared to other wingers, he's in the top 12% for tackles, top 3% for interceptions. So maybe he could play there, and maybe in some matches, kind of like that Ahmad on the left, that could be an option. We know Ruben Amorim has kind of said that. We've scouted a couple options in that as well. Another one, Yavergili at Mallorca. We just scouted last week before I went on the trip. But Diamante's carry numbers are stellar, literally top percent for take-ons, which again shows that you can take somebody on. 14 matches played, 888 minutes this season, so he's doing pretty well. He's obviously very, very, very young. We want to keep an eye on that. He is just 19, just turned 19 as well. But again, all the talk was about the high price tag that was supposedly going to be. But Ben Jacobs seems to think that he could be closer to 52.5, which is roughly half of what the thing. So he is reportedly on our radar. Bayern, PSG, everyone's looking at him. PSG kind of always on the market for wingers. Apparently, remember they wanted Marcus Rashford a few years back. Probably should have sold him in hindsight. But Shanta says, let's compare it with Ahmad. If it's as good as Ahmad, we are good. I think I did in that scouting report compare it to Ahmad. That's typically what I do when we're looking at players. I want to compare them to who we have. I want to compare them to other options. We did this with like Emi Martinez, Donnarumma, and whatnot. Let's compare him to Amad Diallo and see what we're looking at. It's good to have another option like that on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and do it over here on my screen real quick, and then we'll see what we got going on here. I hate FB Ref sometimes. The pop-ups just get on my nerves, dude. There it is. Hold up. There's this little video that keeps wanting to pop up, and it's really pissing me off. I can't stand like SofaScore. Love SofaScore. I love FB Ref, but the pop-ups are absolutely insane. I just can't deal with it. Tobias says Ahmad will always be better as Ahmad plays in EPL. Interesting take. And so when we look at that, if you want, I can put it on your screen if that would be helpful, if you guys would rather have me do that rather than just read it. But in terms of off the ball work, Diamante is well ahead, but in terms of like actual his XG is shot creating action and stuff, Ahmad is above him as well. So here, I'll put it on your guys' screen so we can see what we're working with. That way you guys can see. That's why we do the live shows, you guys. How's everybody doing today? I don't know what the weather's like by you, but I flew back from England to snow and freezing temperatures, so that was fun. Thanks for that. Why didn't everybody warn me about that when I came back? So, all right, let's do this. We'll get this off the screen here. So when it comes to the Ahmad on the left, I'll make it bigger for you guys here. This is what we're working with here. So Yan Diamante is in the red. Same pass completion, same carries, take-ons. He is literally basically an Ahmad on the left. Now, he does put in a little bit more of a defensive shift than Ahmad, as you can see. The blocks, the tackles, interceptions, the clearances are well ahead in terms of just ranking. But Ahmad, definitely when it comes to the actual shot creation in terms of the expected assists, expected goals, and whatnot, he's got him beaten. So I think Yan Diamante looks a little bit more of the modern wing-back, kind of defensive off-the-ball winger. He reminds me a lot of who's that guy from Lazio that we were linked with a while back? He ended up going to West Ham. But his defensive numbers were off the charts compared to other wingers way back then. Tobias says, I could tell about defensive abilities as Ahmad gets carried by opponents. Well, if you look down there, Dabasi, Ahmad, he's not bad. He wins a lot of aerial duels, more than Diamante as well. So, but he's definitely, Ahmad's a winger, and so I don't get mad that he's not a wing back, if that makes sense. He's a winger. To me, it's just like getting mad that, maybe Cunha is not the best 10 or Mbuma's not the best 10. Well, they're not 10. So getting mad that Bruno's not the best 6. Bruno's not a 6. And so there's a little bit of grace I think we want to extend if that makes sense. I'm going to bring him back up on the screen so we can see what we're working with here. But I like Yan Diamante. Like I said, we scouted him a couple. I think not this past scouting report, the scouting report before that, we scouted him. So you guys got a better idea of looking at heat maps. When now it's hard because his path here is really strange too. So he started playing footy in high school here in the States. He played down in Florida, and then he jumped to some lower league like USL2 sides, MLS Next sides, if I remember correctly. Then he went to a Segunda division side in Spain, and then got picked up by Leipzig as well. And so really interesting, really rapid rise to where he is now. So hey, strange things can happen, man. Let me tell you. But supposedly could be available for less than half of what we all thought he was going to be available for. So if you want to know more about him, go check out the scouting report too. But he is currently with Ivory Coast and AFCON, along with Ahmad. So yes, Agent Ahmad, do your work. Moving on, talk about midfield, because we do need midfielders. We've talked about it so many times. We've done so many scouting reports on so many midfielders over the last almost 2 years now that the channel's been around. Some of whom have gone on to do bigger and better things. Some of whom are still, that we talked a little bit about, like Mamadou Sangare, Lamine Camara, whatnot. Jonathan says Ahmad does great while tracking back. He's only weak in aerial duels. Diamond is a little better. Well, we just compared him, and Ahmad's aerial duels are a little better actually, but we'll see. He could go. It just depends on who's at Bayern right now. So Luis Diaz, Michael Lisa, he's not getting in ahead of them. So let's just have it right. PSG, Kvaratskhelia, and who plays on the right wing for PSG? They got Desiree Doué, and then you've got Barcola as well. If we bring him here, he's either going to be playing a rotation option as a 10, or he's going to be playing a left wing back option and rotating in and out of there. Now, he's similar in age to Dorgu. Remember, Dorgu just turned 21. Dorgu had just turned 20 when we signed him. I think a lot of people forget that. And so he'd probably come in, be a rotation option if we're someone we're monitoring. But I think we're going to see what happens in the summer before we make any big moves on someone like that. Personally, I don't think you're going to get him in the January window, but we'll see. Let's see what you guys think. Let me know if you guys rate Yan Diamante. I know he's the talk of the town this season. He's the flavor of the week, but he is quite good. I do like the look of him. So yeah, go check out that scouting report. Moving on to midfielders, like I said, we got a little update here from Dean Jones regarding Ederson at Atalanta. Now, Dean Jones does work for Team Talk. You guys know how I feel about Team Talk. Caught offside, a lot of that stuff. I'm not too keen, but it's been in the news. I want to talk about it. But Dean Jones claims that intermediaries, you can tell I'm still catching up on sleep. Honest to God, fell asleep, zonked out on the couch last night at like 7 o'clock. It's so weird when you go overseas to a place with such a big time jump for like 4 or 5 nights. By the time you're ready to come back home, your body is only then just adjusted to the time jump. So I get back and I'm like up at 3:30 in the morning here, and then I'm sleeping by like 7:30. So I was done last night, but I'm feeling it. It's getting better. But according to Dean Jones, intermediaries acting on behalf of United have apparently been making inquiries about Ederson's transfer status. I feel like the Ederson is becoming the new Schneider, the new Nico Gaitan. You guys remember that nonsense? We just seem to always be linked to him every time a transfer window rolls around. It's been like that, it feels like, for the last several years when it comes to Ederson. I know he's very mercurial among the United fan base. Some of you rate him, some of you don't. Dylan loves him. I could take him or leave him. He wouldn't be my first choice, honestly, but if it was a choice between Ederson or nobody in January, I'm taking Ederson because he is experienced. He is good on the ball. He is a bit of that all-around kind of Morten Hjulman kind of profile midfielder, good on and off the ball. He wouldn't be my first choice, like I said. And that doesn't mean he's bad, but it's like saying go to a restaurant, my first choice over a hamburger or steak might be a steak. I love hamburgers, but I'm going to choose a steak. It just is what it is. But I'm not sure what this whole intermediaries acting on behalf of Man United. I'm not sure what that means. Like, I don't know what that means in transfer speak, but maybe we're looking at midfielders. There are a lot of midfielders out there. We've spoken about them, like I said, many, many times. You guys let me know, what do you think about Ederson? Would you take him? What is he, 26 now? What is he doing in numbers-wise these days? Because I need to see how he's performing. We did do a little bit of a scouting report on him a couple months ago. I feel like when we were linked, I did kind of put his heat maps and whatnot. So he's basically just above average in everything. Now, I say above average, I don't mean like high percentiles. I mean, as far as pass completion goes and stuff, he's actually quite good. Top 25% for all that. His take-ons, top 20% as well. Does very well. Tackles off the ball, top 40% easily. Aerial duels, top 25%. So he's kind of a good all-around midfielder, kind of that Sander Berge kind of all over the place. So good midfielder, not necessarily specialist. I don't think we have specialists in this Ruben Amorim system. I don't think that's what Ineos are looking for either. They're not looking for sixes or eights or tens. I think it's like old school 90s. Like you're just midfielder. You have to be able to do a little bit of everything. You've got to be the Adam Mortons. You've got to be the Elliot Anderson kind of midfielders, the Tonalis, the Bruno Guimaraes kind of guys. That's who we're looking for now. I think it's not enough to just be like, well, I'm a 6. I don't attack. I don't thread these through balls, or I'm a 10. I don't track back. You've got to be able to do a bit of everything. And if you can't hang with that, then you're not going to be part of the plans. So Tobias says, Ederson news never got the fire by the recruitment. Yeah. Shantan says, do you think if we sign star midfield like Baleba, Amorim will replace Bruno or Casemiro? I don't see this happening. I mean, anyone like right now, I'm looking first and foremost at Casemiro replacements. I need a Casemiro with legs. And I know we've been linked with Baleba. I don't know a lot of people like Baleba. I don't think Baleba would be my first choice. His form has completely dropped off a cliff this season. Now, whatever the reasons for that, make of that what you will. Whether it was just last year was a well above average year, and this is his level, or if he's throwing his toys out of the pram, or if being linked to United and not getting the move has shifted. Whatever you want to talk about, none of those options to me, none of those possibilities scream, yeah, let's pay 100 million for this guy. I wouldn't even pay 65, 70 million for Baleba, because any one of those things I don't want. If even being linked to United is too much, what is playing for United going to do? If you don't get what you want, I'm done with players throwing their toys out of the pram if they don't get what they want, if that's what the case is. And if this is his level, it's not a good level. He's continually like the first substitution made at Brighton. He's literally subbed with like 55 minutes in each match. He's the first one off the pitch. I've got stories that we talked about a few months back that his teammates, if you watch some of these matches, and I've seen this with my own eyes, his teammates sometimes don't even want to pass him the ball. So it's really interesting stuff, the kind of things that go on. That's the kind of stuff that can really tell you what might be going on in and around the dressing room as well. But says, we need mid. If I can get both ball carry and ball winner. Yeah, you need midfielders now. Again, the days of the numbers are done, I think. You need midfielders. Like, that's what we need. Old school, Scholes, Keane, that kind of midfielder. Just do it all. Do everything. Elliot Anderson, yeah. To me, Elliot Anderson is first and foremost who I would get. Like, hands down, go get Elliot Anderson and then figure out the rest later. And I've said many times, I don't care what you have to. If you can get it done in January, Forest or like, 17th, 16th place right now, they're not guaranteed shit. Now, you could get them for cheaper if they get relegated, but I think if that's your top choice, just go and get it. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second, though. Baleba plays so good for Cameron. Yeah, a lot of you guys know I don't tend to use the international football as a gauge. You know, I'm not Florentino Perez. I'm not saying you are either. You guys know that's how I feel. Both good and bad. Like like when Harry Kane scoring or Maguire even scoring against like Andorra and stuff. I don't care about that. Or even the opposite side, if you don't do well. Well, I don't expect players to do super well all the time for their international clubs because they don't play with any of these. They don't play with this coach very often. They don't play with these teammates very often. It's very, very simple when I look at it that way. So it's hard to gauge. You know, we know Florentino Perez, anytime somebody has a good international showing, he's going to go sign them. But can anyone tell me where James Rodriguez is playing his football these days? I can't. Device says, there's a rumor he's doing that for United join. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Like, is he doing this on purpose to kind of just force that move? If so, again, to me, that's a strike against him if that's the case, because I don't want players like that at United. I'm sick of that kind of shit. I'm sick of players giving interviews and going on social media and all this other nonsense just because they don't get what they want. We got to stamp that out of football, like altogether, not just at United, but football, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, I don't get my way. Well, I'm just going to get what I want. And I'm tired of the power shift that it's seen as. Like, I'm tired of the player power. So yes, that means we're going to have to let go of some good players. That might mean that Kavi Manu leaves if that's the case. Again, I don't know the details, but that could mean that if it's about the greater good, it's about bigger picture stuff, and bigger picture, we can't bend over backwards to players' demands like that. So my chair is really squeaky today. I don't know if you guys hear that or not, but it sounds, I mean, there's rumors we could be in a sell to buy. I mean, if we're looking at bargains, there are a few bargains to be had. I did that January deals video a while back. But again, and there's a lot of players in that video that I featured for a number of reasons, whether their teams are underperforming, like João Gomez at Wolves, whether they're out of season, like in mid, like players who play in Norway or like some South American leagues, they're out of season. So, or MLS even, Alex Freeman, right back at Orlando, go check him out. Or players who contracts are running out and maybe their clubs want to get some money for him rather than no money. Guys like Quentin Timber at Feyenoord, who's having a great season. Mark Gahey, go swoop for him at Crystal Palace. Ruben Neves, Al Hilal, out of contract, doesn't seem like he wants to sign a new one. Could be a good Casemiro. That's an instant Casemiro upgrade right there as far as I'm concerned. Again, João Gomez, Jared Bowen. I would still take Jared Bowen as a mobile veteran striker option from West Ham. He could come in. He could offer something a little different. He's a leader, and he can play multiple roles again. I think he ticks a lot of boxes as well. Would he be my first choice? No, but there's a bargain to be had, and that's the whole point. There are bargains out there, and these players are very, very good. Shanta is all over it today. I like it. Say we compare better in World Cup. I think World Cup will change the players. Well, we don't. I mean, and everyone, you can get bangers. I mean, Keylor Navas, excellent player, right? Nothing wrong with that. I think that there are obviously, options out. Again, it's like making any signing, though. You never know how they're going to work out. Sir Alex used to say, you don't sign players off the back of tournaments, and I think that there's a lot to be said in that. I don't have a problem with that mentality either. But again, it's all about your recruitment. It's all about your scouting. It's all about your analysis. If all that is top notch, then that's what you pay those people for. And so that's what you have to trust, right? And so if we're looking at someone at World Cup, if there's someone we've been looking at in the World Cup performance is something that tips them over the edge, maybe puts a couple more points in their side, then that could be the case as well. But computer just restarted on me. But I like what I see from Ederson. I don't know, again, if he'd be my first choice, but there are bargains to be had out there as well. I hope they were looking at them. I'd rather not go through another January waiting till the last weekend to do any business. But we've talked about the signings in the past. So go check out the January deals, because it is all well and good to talk about transfers and whatnot. But I think according to a couple of journalists this week, and I don't know if you guys have seen these stories, again, like I said to start the show, we could be in a bit of a sell to buy situation, according to a couple of them. So this is coming from Andy Mitten. And he claims that any United incomings in January are likely to be dictated by outgoings. United have no interest in loaning out unless there is a commitment to buy. So again, we only want loans with an obligation to buy. Agents will be talking up their clients, and spurious links will be made in all manner of players. And so, again, we've seen this before. Sell McTominay to get Ugarte, sell Wan-Bissaka to get Mazraoui, De Ligt, sell in order to bring in players. And I'm going into the summer, it was like, yeah, this is where we're at. But then Ineos turn around and just up the credit by another 100 million, which is like, well, you've been sitting here telling us this whole time that there's no money, that the coffers are dry. So help me understand you saying that, and all of a sudden you just want to whip up, you want to go get another credit card. Like, none of it makes sense. According to Andy Mitten, we are in a sell to buy situation. So could be in for a slow January. He says that the prospect of new names can excite fans who are understandably frustrated after that Wolves draw. But while the situation can change for the reasons outlined above, don't expect a lot of activity. Where are you guys at on when you read something like that? Especially given the context of we need players. We've got players who have been out since October, November, like Maguire, De Ligt. I mean, we've got players like Casemiro who are out of contract, who are maybe slowing down. We've got players who are just need to be gone, maybe like Ugarte, for instance. And then we've got players gone. Now, it was always going to be a big ask to get players simply because of AFCON. I think that would have been something that you would have had to plan a while ago. And I don't think Ineos are just going to do reactionary signings like that, where for a couple weeks, we need some make weights. I don't think that that's the way they're going to do things anymore. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But the fact remains, we still need help, right? We still need to bring in players. The process can continue. We could be set for some exits, though. Now, I know a lot of people were talking about this afternoon, but we've got a lot of Turkish outlets talking about a move for Manuel Ugarte. Could be on his way to Galatasaray if rumors are to be believed. Now, this is coming from Turkish journalist Erten Şuşgun, who says Ugarte has emerged as a Galatasaray's top January target, with talks underway over a loan move from United that would include a €20 million option to buy next summer. United were initially reluctant to sanction a temporary exit, but their stance has now softened and a short-term deal is increasingly possible. Loan with a 20, so that's 20. I've seen 25 million being quoted as well for Ugarte. What do you guys feel about Ugarte? Because I feel like he had a good match, I thought, recently against Newcastle. I don't know if you guys saw that one. Thought he had a good performance. He had a good performance before that, I feel like, as well. Wolves kind of non-existent, though, unfortunately. And so not sure how everyone's feeling. I know we've been talking about him for a while on the channel. I personally don't rate Ugarte all that highly. I don't think that he is multi-dimensional enough. I think that, yes, he'll get about the pitch. Yes, he'll get stuck in, but that's literally all I see from him. His passing is not great. His positional sense is not great. You guys remember we used to criticize McTominay for not being able to kind of position himself very well. And I get the same from Ugarte a lot too. I don't feel like Ugarte just reads this positional sense, especially in that kind of delicate area of the pitch in our own third, right? He's not press resistant in that area. His touch is very heavy. He doesn't really have vision or anything. And so I just don't see a whole lot to him. Yeah, like Shanta says, he's basically, I just don't see a whole lot from Ugarte. I'm not sure what Ten Hag and Ineos saw in him enough to make him sell McTominay in order to bring him into the club. I thought, a lot of people were not too happy about that, but it is what it is. Sorry, my computer's just having an absolute mare at the moment. Shanta says, how are we bidding for Semenyo then? Were we bidding for Semenyo? I know that we were reportedly interested in Semenyo. I didn't see anything bids going in, but that's up to who you believe and what you've read. Now, interested in him, we'll see. But the wages, I think, are something that we didn't want to deal with. And I think that, remember, the rumor was that it was going to completely upend our wage structure, which I don't have a problem not ruining that. I think that I'd like to get us back to a more sustainable wage structure. We don't need to have players who are on 300,000 a week. I think that that's ridiculous, personally, unless they're like, those are the kind of players you get after you've been a couple summers of a rebuild, and you need that kind of Eric Cantona type signing, that one last player that you need to get you over the line kind of thing, which I don't necessarily see right now. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Are there any players that you think would be that? I just don't think we're there yet as far as a rebuild is concerned. But I've also seen, speaking of Turkish league, get you guys' thoughts in there. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing for me, please, too. Love to hear you guys' thoughts. We are on the road to 3K. Now, I did promise that if we got to 3K subs before Christmas, we do give away. We didn't get there. We're very close. We're within like 200 ways. So we're getting very, very close. But would you sell Ugarte? Would you keep Ugarte? Yeah or nay? Let me know in the chat. Because we got some more news coming out of Turkey. Turkish league is crazy. Now, their window started a day later than ours. But Sam Mather, who we spoke about in our loan watch video. You guys remember last international break, we did an academy watch video and a loan watch video. We spoke about Sam Mather. Apparently, he has agreed to personal terms with Turkish side Kayserispor. Talks between United and Kayserispor have begun as well. Now, Sam Mather was almost gone in the summer. There were clubs from Qatar, I think, and then clubs from Turkey. I want to say some German clubs as well, who were interested in Sam Mather. I had high hopes for Sam Mather about a year and a half ago. It doesn't really seem like he's involved that much. It is what it is. Not every academy player is going to be, the next class of 92. It's just the way it is. Not every academy player is meant to do that. Sometimes you get the players, and the point is to sell them. Now, I know a lot of people have thoughts about that. That's how every club works. It is what it is. But yeah, he could be out the door. Another player potentially going to the Turkish league. Xerxes, with all this talk about, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of Amorim's comments on the January window too, but with all this talk on players leaving, players staying, some players, maybe we're not able to even make signings unless we sell some players. I wonder what the future holds for Joshua Xerxes. You guys let me know. I'm starting to wonder if he's going to end up sticking around or if he's going to end up leaving, because they're heavily linked to Roma. But according to Matteo Moretto, another journalist, you guys, if you've watched Fabrizio Romano's channel, Matteo Moretto is on there all the time. But Roma are actually apparently in talks with Atletico Madrid for Italian forward Giacomo Raspadore, who basically plays the same exact position that Joshua Xerxes plays, in like that second striker 10, can play like right attacking mid kind of style. So according to Matteo Moretto, Roma are looking at Raspadore. Now, he claims that is a loan with no obligation. And again, sounds like, according to Andy Minton, we would only be willing to do that if there's an obligation. We did that. We've got the options in with like Rashford and whatnot. So we'll see. But I don't know if what's going on with Xerxes, if Roma are now apparently looking at another player who basically plays the exact same position. That probably doesn't bode well if anybody was looking to get some money for Joshua Xerxes, unfortunately. Little odds and ends here. So I've seen reports that Sekou Kone could be joining Lausanne Sport on loan for the remainder of the season. Now, Lausanne Sport, obviously the Swiss side, owned by Ineos. Ineos have 3 clubs now. We've got Nice, Lausanne, and then obviously Manchester United. So nowhere near City or Chelsea yet. Who knows the way multi-club ownership is. But I do think Kone could do with a loan. I would have liked to have seen him in and around the first team picture this season. I think that there's a chance maybe we even could have, had he not gotten that eye fracture early on in the season. You guys remember we were kind of doing a little bit of a watch along for that academy match. I was going live, meant to go live after that match left, but that match ended. But the injury time took long. I think the match was eventually abandoned. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, he was out for months, eye fracture. He was meant to be wearing a protective face mask. I don't think he is wearing that. So, and obviously he's been getting a little bit more minutes here and there with the academy recently as well. So I would have liked to see him in and around the first team. I think he is that Baleba alternative. I think he's that profile of player, but he's still very young. He was playing first team football in Mali. Obviously that's much different than the Premier League. He's doing very well. He's older too. I think he's 19, 20, if I remember off the top of my head. So loan is good. Minutes are good. It's important for the youngsters who are ready for that to get minutes, to make that step up. Not everyone is, but I think he is one of those who's ready. And who knows? I do think he would have been in around the team, kind of like we've seen Fletcher. Lacey came on. Fredrickson's come on as well. Montato came on against Wolves, which is awesome. We'll talk a little bit about that next week in the Kickabout when Dylan and I recap our trip. But do you think Kone should stay and kind of get maybe the odd appearance here for the first team, or do you think maybe it's better just to go loan him out? You guys let me know what your thoughts are. Speaking of youngsters, we did recall Toby Collier, if you guys remember. So Collier was at West Brom, getting some odd minutes here and there, not as much as he probably should. Injuries, again, aren't going away. So we actually recalled him so he can recuperate from his injury. But if he's expected, though, I've read, to be fit by the end of the month. That's coming from Tyrone Marshall, I think writes for the MEN. So take that with a grain of salt as well. But he says that we've recalled him so he can recuperate, but he's expected to be fit by the end of the month. So he actually could technically be part of the first team squad. Similar situation to like Tyrell Malacia, I think. Tyrell Malacia obviously came on, got some minutes recently as well. But if you have him, use him. The problem with Collier, I like Collier a lot. You guys know we liked him last year. The problem has just been injuries. He just can't seem to stay fit, unfortunately, which really is too bad, because I do like the way he plays. I think his reading of the game, his positional sense, very, very good. I think he knows where to be, when to be there. He gets stuck in. We saw some situations defending in the box when he was playing under Ten Hag where he just, again, popped up in the right position, like someone with a lot of experience, but he unfortunately just can't stay fit, which is really too bad because I'd really like to look at Collier, but um, get some minutes maybe send him back on loan again. The injuries, I don't know who's going to touch that. It's kind of like, dealing with a Luke Shaw situation again. Kobe Manu is another one who's been injured quite a bit, if you guys remember. He had a lot of injuries as well. So Amorim has turned it around injury-wise, but there's only so much you can do. But all right, let's talk a little bit about what Amorim had to say about our January business, because he actually did. He was asked about this in his press conference, and his response did not fill me with a lot of hope. So I want to know what you guys have to say. So he was asked about the club doing business, and Amorim said the transfer window is not going to change. We have no conversations to have any change in the squad. There's a process. There's an idea that is going to continue. And so basically reiterating the fact that, there's been a whole plan. It's like a 5-year plan kind of a thing. And it's so regimented to the fact that even if deals are available in January, it's not going to happen. But I really hope that this is down to a language barrier thing. And maybe some part of me hopes maybe he's just kind of referring to previous comments that maybe none of the current players are asking to leave. There's not going to be any changes. But honestly, kind of like what Andy Mitten says, I wouldn't get my hopes up. This to me feels like Amorim basically preparing us for a quiet window. And the reason I say that has a lot to do with his body language, his facial cues, his expressions and stuff during the presser. And obviously the photo is not from this presser, but if you go watch the presser for this Leeds match, I don't think I saw Amorim smile once. I don't think I saw any sort of easing of tension or relaxation on his face once during this Leeds presser. He looked like a very tired guy, very worn out, dejected, kind of at the end of his tether. He looks like a guy who's been told you're not getting any help in January. Basically, the money's not there. You got to deal with what you have, and that's what he looked like. If you guys watch this presser today, which is unfortunate. I mean, and before anyone from the Amorim outside of the fence kind of chimes in and says, "Don't give him any more money," he's already like, again, A, managers don't spend the money, so it's not FC26. And B, you can't look at it that way anymore. Not only does modern football not work that way, but United aren't working that. We're not buying players for Amorim. We're buying players, and Amorim is the coach. We're buying players for an Ineos vision that are good under any manager, basically. We're versatile. We're charting mentality monsters and whatnot. It's just not the way we're working. We're not a buy for one manager kind of club anymore. A lot of the players that we've signed, like Dorgu, for instance, Chesko even, we were looking at before Amorim was even here. We were scouting Dorgu like in the spring before Amorim got here. And so that kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. They're versatile, like I said, and they fit that vision. I just don't think that waiting for the summer to just be so you can save a couple million, 20, 30 million even, like I get that's a big chunk of change, but Ineos have shown that they're willing to spend the money if they need to. I don't think that waiting for the summer, just if that's the case, financial reasons, I don't think that's backing the manager properly. I don't think that's showing ambition for the season. I think that to me is writing off the season, putting the plan ahead of where we are right now. Where we are is well ahead of where a lot of us thought we were going to be compared when you look at last season, especially. Whether you like manager like Amorim or not, like you have to back the manager. It doesn't matter. Even if he wasn't here with someone else, we still have to back him. And again, if this is a process like Amorim says, then it doesn't need a 5-month delay just because January is hard to do business in. I don't care. I've already said, spend a little bit over the odds on a player like, I don't know, Anderson or what. I'm just throwing a name out of the hat. In January, that could mean the difference between Champions League or not. It could be the difference between a deep FA Cup run or not, which will pay for itself. Like anything extra you spent will pay for itself, and we'll be glad that we did. You can't take your foot off the gas. If the opportunities are there, you got to keep going. We were led to believe that Ineos were going to approach things differently than the Glazers. And I think that a midfielder during January, preferably like within the next week or so, I think that would be a very simple step in the right direction in terms of just, it's not hard to be better than the Glazers. Let's be honest. Joe Jim's already spent money, but there's also a lot of negative optics going on as well. So literally it wouldn't take much, but I just always worry too when comments like this are made, when managers start to kind of toe the boardroom party line. if Amorim, like, this is what he says in public, like, I get it. It's not always what you're going to see behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, Amorim better be knocking on Ineos's door every single day. You guys ever see Zero Dark 30? Like that scene where she's waiting on like the go ahead, and every day she's like putting a countdown on the guy's window. That better be Amorim when it comes to signings, dude. Danny B's in the house. Big up, Danny. We were talking about your boy Yan Diamande earlier. Apparently, he could be available for cheap. We'll see. I don't know if I buy it, but big up. Leeds will show Amorim how to play 3-5-2. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Farka because he's turned Leeds around this season, and we're gonna talk about tactics. We're still talking about transfer news, man. Tobias says Leeds did come hard at us preseason, almost 1-2. I mean, yeah, we were soft preseason, man, and we're bare bones at the moment. Danny says Ineos are a joke. Said it from day one. They will bury the club. I think they have the best intentions. I think, in my opinion, Ineos do want to get the club back, like, to a maybe even a better place than where it was in terms of just what a club should be. The new stadium, the Carrington remodel. Sir Jim put up his own money for a lot of stuff. For a lot of that, it's like if Sir Jim went to Old Trafford and bought a bottle of water, he's already put more of his own money into this club than the Glazers have. Like, and he's put like 300 million into this club. But I do think that they are putting the financial kind of like the whole let's not run to the wrong decision thing. I think they're putting that ahead of really. Again, this is because football is not like another business. It's not measured success-wise in terms of spreadsheets and balances and finances. It's measured by wins, losses, points, trophies. None of the other shit matters. That's success. I don't care if you have to spend a lot, and at the end of the year, it's a loss financially. If you've lifted a trophy, it's success. And I don't think that Ineos quite understand that. They're looking at a very long-term sustainability thing, which I get, but that's only part of the picture. You have to have more to it. And right now, we're doing better in the table than we should. The table's tight enough to where if you make one or two good signings in this January window, midfielders preferably, that could be the difference. And that to me would do a lot to showing the fans that, you know, we're different. We mean what we say. And I haven't seen it. I have not seen it at all. Shantek says we would take Maresca over Amorim. Hell no. I knew there was good. I'm not accusing you of this, but like Dylan and I spoke the other day when the whole, like, was it 2 days ago when the Maresca stuff started coming out? And I literally said, cue the United fans who will be wanting Maresca into the club, man. Yeah, it's going to happen. It happens all the time, whether it's a player who's all of a sudden a player no one's heard of will pop up in the rumor mill that, you know, City are looking at him or Liverpool. And all of a sudden will go, why aren't United looking at him? Like, if they're not on a list, they're not on a list. There's a lot of players out there, but I hear you. Then he says Gomez, Hackney, others, and Gettable in January. Yeah, we did that video, January deals. Hackney's on there as well because he wants to move up to a club. Hackney might not be my first choice. I do love Hayden Hackney. You guys know I'm on constant Hayden Hackney watch, but he is very, very good. I think he is the profile of midfielder that we should be looking at. Proper box-to-box, chance creator, assister. He's versatile too. He's been recently playing in like a more 10-ish role as well, but he is a very good midfielder. I think he is an improvement on Ugarte. He's not an improvement on prime Casemiro, but for what you get right now, I think he would be an improvement as well. He is not as defensive minded. He does want to get on the ball and get the ball in advanced positions, but I do like Hackney a lot. Tobias says I would take Carlo, but his age is past. Yeah, we did a if you guys remember in the dark times earlier in the season, Dylan and I did pull the trigger. We did do a Amorim replacement video. We went through 8 managers and their pros, their cons, their styles, their CVs, everything, and let you guys vote. I think Oliver Glasner has the majority of the votes. I think Unai Emery was up there as well. Xavi, I think, was up there as well. I think right now, if I had to put a list, it would be maybe Emery, Glasner, and maybe Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is sneaking in there, mostly just for what he does in the dressing room in terms of just unity, getting people kind of singing from the same hymnal. I think that is an underrated quality for a manager, and he does play the kind of football I think people like United to play. But is he high profile enough? Is he experienced enough in the big matches? That remains to be seen. But yeah, go back and watch that video. It's a long one, but it was a fun one. But let's talk about this match here, you guys. Make sure you guys are liking. Make sure you get that subscription button pressed for me. Let me know your thoughts on the January window as we keep going. Dylan and I will talk a little bit more about that next week when we come back with the kickabout. But January window is open, a couple days open, but it's open. So hopefully we can do some business. But like Andy Minton says, I would not hold my breath. And honestly, more's the pity because we need help. All right, moving on to the match here because that's why we're all here right now. You guys want to talk transfer news because we get Leeds. It's the fun rivalry that honestly we've been missing. But Leeds are on a bit of a run. I think they're unbeaten in 7. They just drew 0-0 with the Scousers, which always funny. People want to give us shit for a draw with Wolves. Liverpool could not even score against Leeds, and so that's going to bite me in the ass come Sunday. But in that same 7-game period, we've had just the one loss, but just 3 wins. So a lot of draws. We're kind of in Louis van Gaal days right now. Just these draws are killing us, man. And it's just not good enough. In recent years, though, when these two sides met, it has been all united. And so we'll see what happens. Right now, Leeds are way down in 16th, just 21 points. 3 points above Forest, interestingly enough. 7 points above relegation. So they're somewhat safe, not super safe, but a lot of that does have to do with the changes that Daniel Farke has made over the course of the season. They're not great. They're 16th when it comes to goals conceded per 90. That almost 2 goals conceded per 90, so not great at all. They are 12th for when it comes to goals scored per match. So again, not great. But again, they held the Scousers to a 0-0 draw. But 4 draws and 1 win in their last 5. But they do seem to have Liverpool's number. So he has switched Daniel Farke to a 3-5-2 this season, and that's really been a kind of a kick up the ass, a catalyst for their form. Their aim has basically been get that ball wide, get it into the box, because they don't play a lot of long balls, which you'd think big, strong, big, tall striker like Calvert-Lewin. No, they're near the bottom when it comes to long balls, but they are top of the league right now when it comes to accurate crosses per 90. So again, get the ball wide, get it forward, old school, get it into the box. I'm going to show you a little bit here what Calvert-Lewin is all about, but that is their aim. So we need to be alert to that ball into the box, quite frankly. Lamont has to be able to come off his box or his line anytime that ball looks a little close to him, and these defenders need to be right side of the goal scorer or the attacker, and they need to be alert to that. We have a problem with not trying to clear these balls into the box. It's really annoying. But the real issue with the numbers is how many players that Leeds get into the box, because they get a lot. They flood that box, and what this does is it creates space because they're pulling defenders all over the place. So there's a lot of movement in there, a lot of opportunities for these players to find good spaces to get on the end of something. Again, that switch in formation has also made them very difficult for the opposition to break down. They are very stingy at the back. They make themselves very difficult to break down. A clean sheet against Liverpool, even the struggling Liverpool side, is nothing to sneeze at. And they do this by just dropping into a low block, especially when they play stronger sides. They want to pack the middle of that park. They want to put any ball that comes their way, the defenders are going to get on and they're going to get rid of it. I think they're third 2 in the Premier League right now when it comes to possession, 1 in the final third. So we cannot move the ball slowly as we've done that Aston Villa match, the Wolves match. Dylan and I were literally at the Wolves match, and I cannot tell you the tangible just groan and frustration and just annoyance of the fans with how slowly we've been moving the ball, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Let me get involved in this chat here. Let's see you guys saying, Danny thinks Leeds beat us easily. We will see. I'm not super confident about it, but we should be beating them. I'm not going to lie. I did feel that way about Wolves, though. But honestly, how can you plan for just the way we played against Wolves? You can't plan for, Shesko missing clear chances. You can't plan for just how slow and ponderous we were playing. Like, it's just ridiculous, dude. Tobias says, if it was United some years back, I would be confident, but Grimsby, 10 men, Everton, and Wolves is maybe shaking. It is always more difficult. Like if you listen to any player or coach, anybody talk, it is difficult to play against 10 men, especially that Everton side. Everton are a difficult side to break down at the back with 11. When they're up the goal down to 10, they're just going to park the bus, dude. Then he says it takes the championship promotion team 1 week to play 3 at the back, and we're playing it for over here. Yeah, and that's a whole separate conversation to be had, Danny. It really is, and maybe that has something to do with how much more experience Daniel Farke has compared to Ruben Amorim, because Amorim's only been managing at anywhere near top level for 5, maybe 6 years now. He's only 40, so like young players, maybe Amorim is not the finished article yet. But then the question becomes, is this the club to bring in a manager who's literally learning on the job, not only like learning United or the league, but just learning how to be a manager in general? That's another conversation, though. If I says, how can this team be so inconsistent to get the flow going? Well, again, and a part of it too is we've been complaining about a lot of these players for years, and so we can't neglect they share a lot of the blame as well. Some of these players are just not good for any reason, whether it's physicality, athleticism, mentality, footballing IQ. None of the players we have, well, maybe not none, but the vast majority of the players we have in the squad just don't tick enough of those boxes. You can probably count them on 2 fingers, like Bruno and the Lit, maybe, is about it. That's about all I can name, man. Johnny Hill, welcome back. Says, what do you think of the Kone loan? Says, personally, I think they have fully messed up on loaning him to that club. Well, we've already got Kanabiek at that club, Lusan doing well. I haven't seen it confirmed yet. So if it has been confirmed while I've been live, let me know. I've only seen the rumors that we're going to. I don't have a problem with it. I do still think that Kone might have been in and around the first team, kind of like what we've seen from Fletcher if he hadn't gotten that injury. I think the injury is what kind of changed things, in my opinion. He got that eye socket fracture early on in the season. That kind of derailed everything. He needs minutes, and I think that he could be a very shrewd like alternative to signing Carlos Baleba for a lot of money. But Conan needs minutes, and he's probably one that you want him to go get first team experience. But we'll see what happens. That's what the academy, that's what the loan system is for. And I think that the fact that we're loaning him out so soon after signing him shows that maybe he's ready to be tested in that way. We'll see. That's the test. Danny says Amorim is a stubborn coward. Yeah, I did not mince my words with Amorim recently. And obviously you can see that I'm not too happy with him. I think the way we played against Wolves was absolutely cowardly, as I said in my match reaction while Dylan and I were in Manchester. But yeah, Leeds. So against Liverpool, they made themselves very difficult to break down. They packed that midfield with some big lads. They will be without Ethan Ampadu. He is suspended after picking up a yellow against Liverpool. But they're going to be without a couple of players. Longstaff is out. Rodon is out. Dan James are all out. They've all been injured. But still, Dominic Calvert-Lewin decided to somewhat suddenly remember that he's a footballer since he joined leagues in the summer. He's scored 6 straight matches at one point for the first time in his career. 8 goals in the league this season. He will be a handful in the box. So here's a little bit of a breakdown of Calvert-Lewin's goals right now and shots and everything and all that stuff. So the stars are obviously a goal. You've got the solid circles is on target, dim circles off target, but 34 shots attempted, 7.5 XG, 8 goals. So he's outperforming his XG. But what do you notice about these goals from Calvert-Lewin? What do you notice about this? You guys let me know, because again, he's been a handful in the box. 5 of his 8 goals have come from inside the box. 20% of his touches overall are from inside the box as well. Yeah, like Danny says, Anton Stach has been an excellent signing as well. But what you notice about Calvert-Lewin is literally his job is to get there in and around that penalty spot and just get on the end of something. Like I said, Leeds are first in the league right now for accurate crosses per 90. Calvert-Lewin's 5 of his 8 goals in the league have all come from the very similar spot. I think we know what their plan is, right? I think we know exactly what their plan is. And say what you want about Calvert-Lewin, but he's experienced enough to know what to do now. The quality might not be there, but he's found a new lease on life. But this is something we need to be alert to. We just have to, because if not, it's going to cost us. Senna Lamens, I understand that it's been a difficult time these last couple weeks, but you need to start getting back to that Senna Lamens that we saw at Antwerp, coming off your line a lot, man. Like Danny says, Anton Stach doing really well. He's going to win a lot of those long balls from the keeper, which will need to be alert to the second ball. Something that we were not doing well before the Liverpool match, and we haven't really done well since the Liverpool match. It seemed like the Liverpool match, that was a one-off from Amorim, like, hey, win the second balls. I don't know why we can't just do that all the time. Go and win the second ball. Like, it's not hard. We've been bad at that for years, though. It's not Amorim's fault. But again, kind of like the debt, the debt is not Amorim's fault or Ineos's fault, but it is their responsibility to figure out a solution to. And it's the same with Amorim right now with those second balls, dude. Um, let's see. Johnny says, I think if the plan was for in the next few years to bring him into the main team, he could have benefited from a championship club loan like Ahmad did. Yeah, I mean, but there's when you have clubs that use this multi-club model. I mean, Chelsea do it with Strasbourg, City done it with Girona, Tra, all these guys. That's normal. I'm not saying that like, yay, awesome, like just get over it. I'm just saying that's normal when you've got a multi-club ownership model. You're going to utilize that any way you can. I don't have a problem with us utilizing. I think we do need to be a little bit more out of the box when it comes to the way we're signing play. I think we need to look at loans a little more often, free agents a little more often, maybe January, people in the end of their contract more often. We don't do enough of that, in my opinion. We have to be a little bit more clever and a little bit more acute in the transfer market. Dwight says we missed on Cherky. Yeah, he's a good player, man. He's a good player. Dwight says I'm surprised Dominic Calvert-Lewin can stay fit. You never know. You absolutely never know. But yeah, as you can see, he is basically the target man for them. Get it wide, get it into the box, and he's gonna deliver apparently because he just remembered that he is a footballer this season. Don't ask me why, but he has. So United. Right now, our performances, our team selection, they're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's my my Forrest Gump impression. But honestly, you do never know what you're going to get from this United side. It can one day we could play like we did against Liverpool, like we played against Chelsea, like even Palace. I was surprised we beat Palace, surprised we beat Newcastle, and the next day we can show up like we did against Villa, Bournemouth, Wolves. We could be switched off in a matter of a couple minutes and concede a couple goals like we did against Forest. Like this is what you literally never know. But again, Dallo and Dorgu, they are going to be alert if they're starting to the threat from wide positions. Again, Leeds want to get that ball wide. They do get numbers in the box, so there's a chance there could be some space in behind to exploit. The problem is we just don't move the ball fast enough to exploit the space. We never have under Ruben Amorim. We want to stop. We want to start the build-up and go from there and win. And it just lets opposition get back into shape time and time again. It's the single reason we lost to Everton, not because we conceded the goal, not because they parked the bus, but because we were too slow. We didn't bring on enough speed to take advantage of that. It's super annoying. Our 10s also are going to need to help out because we do need to try to disrupt that buildup from Leeds defense. We have to try to put just a little pressure on. We can't just let them get that ball for. It's too easy for teams to get the ball from their box to our box, whether that's a simple ball or just a simple dribble. It's way too easy. No one even tries. I'm getting really annoyed with Matheus Cunha because he just does not want to defend whatsoever. Like literally doesn't want to defend. He can't be bothered. It's really, really annoying. Honestly, though, it doesn't have to do a lot. You don't have to chase everything down like you're fucking Dan James. Just literally move a little wider when you're a 10, just to put a little bit cut off on that passing lane. Just don't make it so easy for them to get a ball forward. Again, on the ball, we need to be quicker. The Wolves match felt like the worst of the worst when it comes to how slowly, how ponderously, how cautiously we attack. And I think that doesn't just mean get the ball from our box to the opposition half quick. It means making decisions that, I don't know if you guys remember from the Wolves match, there's an opportunity late on where we're trying to get another goal. Casemiro's got the ball around midfield. He's carrying it. He's got his head up. Montato is making a run. All Casemiro has to do is just pass the ball 10 yards forward, and he holds onto it too long. It gets stolen. I forget who steals it, and then that's it. Chance is gone. And it's shit like that I'm talking about. No one wants to move the ball. They all want to just carry it to them. I don't know if they're too afraid of what might happen when we lose it, if they play a pass and it's intercepted, like if they're too afraid of it. But that's mentality. It's ridiculous. Leeds get a lot of numbers forward. So again, we got to exploit that space very quickly. After Liverpool's goalless draw with Leeds, Arne Slot said, you need pace against a stacked defense like Leeds. You can't let them get back into shape. And I hate to agree with anything Arne Slot says. He looks like a giant baby, but it's what I've been saying all season when we play against these sides. We let everyone get back into their defensive shape way too quickly because we're too slow. That's a strike against Ruben Amorim that he hasn't learned yet. Like, I don't care what your system is. You're literally throwing away opportunities to create chances. That to me is cowardly. It's absolutely cowardly. Says Ineos with a final nail in the coffin. We're finished. The boss says, "Go fund me for United's winter window by Ratcliffe, audited independently by the Glazers." Well, who knows? We saw reports that Napoli are basically going ahead and activating the Hoyland option in the summer. Doesn't help us now, but maybe if they activate it, we can count it as money. Not like on paper, but we can say, okay, we're getting this money in the summer. Let's go do something now. Like we got to do something. I think we need to capitalize on set pieces as well. Leeds aren't great at those, and there's nothing that you need to worry about in terms of being slow. You just have to be first to the ball, and the delivery's got to be perfect. Put Shaw on those, please. I don't want to see Cunha. I don't want to see Mount, anybody else taking them. Put Shaw on the set pieces. You can argue maybe Leach as well, but we need someone who can deliver a ball. And the players that have been taking the set, like Mount recently, it's not good. Not good at all. Shesko, he has been getting into good positions. He has some really good chances recently, especially against Wolves. And I'm very critical of him not putting those away, but he is getting back from injury. This is like his second or third start, I think, since that injury. He's getting into positions. He's showing like he did a lot of work off the ball against Wolves. He was winning back the ball. He was holding up. His finishing has just got to dial it in. Cunha is working hard, perhaps trying to do too much. If he just moves the ball, I don't mean carrying it. Like if he can pass and move more than just try to carry it and take on the whole world by himself, it will click. I think he's just got to learn to start passing the ball a little bit and then moving into the space and get the ball back. It can click. What would your starting 11 look like for this guy? Device says tall guy needs to work on his curl shots. He's working on his heading, dude. His header's like, he was getting so close, man. He was getting so close. But I want to know your starting 11s like this for this match. What would your starting 11 be for this one? Obviously it's difficult. We have no idea like who's going to be fit. Amorim doesn't really seem to think like anyone's going to be fit yet. Kind of ridiculous, honestly, since De Ligt's been out since Palace and Maguire's been out since Spurs. I need to check my notes, see if we have enough defenders available so Amorim can make his mandatory center back substitutions, because that's the only substitutions he seems capable of making. Like, seriously, he only made 3 subs against Wolves, and they were all defenders. Like, that is absolutely, like, the pinnacle of cowardly behavior. I can't, like, people say, oh, Montato is a wingback. Montato is a fullback. Like, just have it right. It's defensive, and it's cowardly, and I'm tired of it. But let me know your starting 11s. I don't know what the shape is going to be. I don't know who's going to be fit. I have 1-11 that's a 3-4-2-1 with Shea Lacey in there. I've got another one. It's like a 4-2-3-1. I couldn't tell you what this is going to look like. I've almost given up trying to predict this. I just don't know what Amorim's deal is. I mean, I'm starting to wonder for Amorim if there was some sort of like reinforced conditioning he underwent under Jose Mourinho when he was kind of getting his badges. You got to remember, Amorim studied under Jose at United. Maybe there was like some sort of torture involved every time he decided to bring on an attacker in his testing. Jose shocked him or something, and he just conditioned it out of him, man. Like every time, I'll bring on an attacker. Wrong. Defender. You defend. I don't know. I don't understand what happened for the Wolves match, his approach. That means like Mount not available, so that means you have to completely change everything instead of just finding a way to make it work without Mount. Like you moved Dorgu all over the place, Dallo, like it just ruined everything. He's just being very cowardly, and I'm a little done with it. But I want to know your starting 11s for this one. If I had to guess, if I had to pick something right now, I'd probably still go Shesko Cunha. I'd probably put Lacey on the 10 still. You're probably gonna put Dallo and Dorgu in the wingbacks. Pick your side, any side. No Bruno probably means we're going to see Ugarte and Casemiro again. It's just there's no other options really. You're not going to start Fletcher, right? But then probably defense is probably the iffy one because it all depends on how you feel about Euro. But I'm still probably going to go Shaw, Licha, Heaven, which I don't like, but there's no other options. 3 left-sided center backs in a back 3 is not ideal, but I think Heaven's been excellent. I think Heaven just has earned a spot. Leach has been excellent. Shaw, the only question mark with Shaw is just does he need a rest? But you're just going to pick him, right? I mean, it's the only one that we can do. Debasi's got an 11 here. He says Shesko, Cunha, Mount. I don't know if Mount's fit. Amorim said that nobody who was injured is fit, so same old shit. Dallo, Ugarte, Casemiro, Dorgu, Shaw, Butcher. Yeah, so basically the same other than Mount. Yeah, I would probably still go ahead and start Shea Lacey. I think when he came on, who was that against? I can't remember now. His one of his first actions was to take a shot. It was at the keeper, but it was from outside the box, a nice little curler. I'd like to see that one again, but I want to know your starting 11s, but I also want to know your score predictions. So obviously, we've got the fun little score predictions. We all know what we're going to expect. Now, some of you are not very confident in this one, but I'm actually going to go 2-1 United is the score. I think that we have enough in the attack. I think we will get some goals. A lot of it is going to depend on how we line up, and a lot of it is going to depend on how we play. If we play anyway like we played the last couple of games, how slow it's this is going to suck, especially if Leeds happen to nick a goal off of a set piece or a cross into the box. This has another Everton result written all over it, and literally because they'll just park the bus. That's all they're going to do. Um, that's just annoying. Danny's going 3-1 Leeds. Yikes. You guys are funny. Let me go see what this poll is up to. I got to open up on my other screen here because this other computer is just doing an absolute madness, unfortunately. But I'm going to go 2-1 United. Danny's going 3-1 Leeds. What the poll here? So 31 votes. If you say that Leeds are going to win. That's probably one of the roughest ones I've seen so far since we've been doing this. I says 1-0 United just to laugh at Liverpool. I mean, anytime you can laugh at Liverpool, it's great. Everybody's still thinking that Florian Wirtz is just that was his that's his turning point. No, Florian Wirtz is shit. Danny says we need to go 4 at the back. Well, let me know your 11 if you're going 4 at the back then, because I'm struggling to think. So you go 4 at the back. What are we looking at? You putting Shaw at left back, or you putting Shaw in the center back? Because if I'm going 4 at the back, I'm putting Dorgu as the right winger again, like we played recently, and he had an excellent match. Remember, he was Premier League Player of the Week for that one. So if we're going 4 at the back, you'll say 4-2-3-1. It's going to be Shaw, Licha, Heaven, Dallo, Ugarte, Casemiro, and then I'm probably going to go Cunha, Shesko, Dorgu on the right hand side. But who plays in the 3? Or I mean, who plays in the 10 then? In that case, would you put Fletcher as the 10? Maybe. I think he has played in a more advanced 8 role at the academy level. Because has been watching Leeds past few weeks because they've few of their players in fantasy very well. Yeah, I like Tanaka. He's very good. Danny says missing Rodon, Ampadu. Yeah, no Rodon, no Ampadu, no Dan James as well. So they've got a few players. They've lost a lot of the pace in Dan James, but Nyonto is still very good. Obviously, they've got Stack who's doing a really good job in midfield. And obviously, Calvert Lewin are really good. But Shaw is going to get walked. Shaw's been pretty decent, I'll say, but they do have pace. Like Amorim said it a couple times in the presser, they've got pace. And but Arne Slot said, you've got to match that pace. You've got to play quickly against these sides that set up in a low block, but. I'll go 2-1 United. Dan's going 3-1 Leeds. Tobias is going 1-0 United. If you weren't able to catch the live, let me know your 11s and your score predictions in the comments after the video. But we just seem. Oh yeah, I forgot about Shesko or Xerxes. Yeah, he could play off Shesko, I guess. I just don't know what's going on with Shesko, man. I mean Xerxes, because like I didn't get subbing him off so early the other day. Like I didn't get that one at all. He would not have been the sub I would have made. Like I just don't get it, man. But yeah, Xerxes is also an option as a 10. You got me there. So we seem hell bent on avoiding a top 4 spot like the plague. But I mean, then again, so do Liverpool and Chelsea. So there's that. According to Statman Dave, I don't know if you guys saw this. United have already dropped more points from winning positions this season than we have during the entirety of last season. So awesome there. I mean, I guess you could look at it as, hey, we've been in winning positions, but you absolutely cannot ignore the fact that we've dropped points regardless because of stupid reasons. I think poor mentality, lack of focus, like against Forest, Spurs, Bournemouth. I think Amorim, though, is also squarely to blame for much of it as well. We all revert to type under pressure and under stress in life. No matter what you're doing, we will no matter what you're trying to work on, what things you're trying under pressure, we will all revert to type. We will all go back into our old patterns. In Amorim's case, this means more defenders, inviting pressure, slow build up, which means you invite pressure on yourself during the season as well, which we're going to leak goals, we're going to drop more points. It's just none of it makes sense to me. It seems like she's actively his risk aversion is like it's self-inflicting unnecessary pressure and pain. Like I don't get it. Some of you will hear that though, And you'll say, Sean, like you say all the time, be more defensive when we're ahead. That's not what I say. I don't say be more defensive. I say bust. Whenever, and I've only said this when we're defending and lead in like the 10 minutes or so. What do I say? What's my phrase? When you're defending a lead, the final minutes make it boring. It doesn't mean concede the ball and just hope that you can block shots or clear the danger. It means make it boring. That's when you want to play the horseshoe pass pattern. That's when you want to play it back to the keeper over and over again. You want to kill the clock. And I don't say do it for an entire second half of the match because we happen to be 1-0 up at halftime. That is absolutely ridiculous. That's cowardly. It doesn't mean I don't never mean just be defensive. Take care of the ball, play smart passes, force the opposition to take risks when they're chasing the game instead of making it easy for them. Too frequently, I think Amorim has shot himself in the foot with his cowardly decisions. We're better on attacking the defense. So it makes zero sense to me that Amorim does some of the things he does when it comes to the decisions he makes. Again, it's self-inflicted pressure. And I honestly I can't believe it's what Ineos envisioned when they pictured the way they want United to play. And so I do think that he is putting unnecessary pressure on himself from above as well. We're just allergic to capitalizing on our rivals dropping points. We've been like that for years, but so it's nothing new. But Amram really got to find a solution in his cowardly, risk-averse decisions. We'll see him get sacked if he doesn't find a solution quickly. Win this comfortably, though. We could lock in fourth place this season, this weekend on goal differential. But again, I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll see. Chelsea have City, so that could help us. Liverpool play Fulham, who they are on a little bit of a league run right now, Fulham, so that could be another upset. Sunderland could beat Spurs, so there's that. It's weird that we have to talk about trying to get above Sunderland for a top four spot, but it's where we are. But it's absolutely ridiculous. What are you guys saying here? He says Amorim loves breaking records. Well, we're still holding on to the academy record, and we're still holding on to the not losing when we're ahead at halftime at home record. So we have that one. Dude, Ten Hag did the same thing though, if you guys remember. We put a lot of negative records under Ten Hag. Danny says first half against Newcastle was excellent. And he goes back to his back five. We instantly fold, go deeper. Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I said. We easily could have thrown that match away with how many shots we were inviting. When Dylan and I were there, it was not pretty. It was just attack versus defense for that entire second half, simply because of Amorim's changes. I don't know if he's worried about fitness, if he is just like, well, I can't, and I don't think this, but some people think this, like, oh, I can't make us look good not playing my system, so I'm going to play my system. And if he can't see that his system is what's killing us right now, then that's a problem. And I don't think it's the system overall. I think it's been the way his system is in these moments. Like I don't think the way we played Newcastle the second half is Amorim's system, but that was his system in the moment. That was the system he put in that second half, and it was not good. It was not good at all, dude. Um, Sounds like Enzo Maresca has been sacked, so there's that as well. I mean, Garnacho is like the Grim Reaper these days. And then there are people already saying Maresca should come to United. I saw David Ornstein claim that Maresca has a clause in his Chelsea contract that allowed him to take over at Man City if they were ever looking for a new manager and they approached him. Maybe that means Pep is gone soon. I don't know, but who's next in the sack race though? Is it maybe Thomas Frank after literally time wasting this weekend against Brentford when it was 0-0? I don't know. Arne Slot, maybe after he has literally no plan B whatsoever, can't figure out how to make anything work. I don't know. You guys let me know. Danny says Lacey was the obvious sub for Dallo at halftime against Wolves. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't get it. If I was a journalist, I would literally ask these hard questions. I wouldn't keep asking about Kobbie Mainoo. I wouldn't keep asking about, oh, do you know anything about the Leeds rival? Those are stupid questions. I would ask him literally, what was your thinking behind that second half at Newcastle? He's already asked about the Everton, like you do not have enough attackers, and I don't have enough attackers, and I'm like, dude, Lacey and Mainoo are right there. We've already talked about this. Like, I don't know what goes on in Amorim's head sometimes. I'm not Amorim out. You guys know I don't get into that chat, but I'm running out of things that he's doing well right now to help defend him. Because it's literally a lot of the same stuff, and then it's more. Now he's getting some brownie points with people because he's been playing a lot of youngsters. It is what it is. Make of that what you will. Some people think he's just doing it to kind of, again, get some brownie points. He's getting some brownie points for switching to a back four, which has seen us look better. The individual errors have been an issue, but he can't do anything about that. He can't make players like better like in the moment. But I think that I'm running out of positives to defend him with. Danny says, I'd ask him how a championship team can play three at the back in a week and his team struggle after a year. Yeah, couldn't tell you, man. Leeds definitely are a little bit more physical, a little bit more just straightforward, kind of bare bones kind of stuff. Maybe Amorim's trying to kind of overcomplicate things. Amorim is a little bit more tactically kind of focused and rigid than it comes to maybe a championship side. Championship side is usually route one, let's go direct, or we park the bus and hit them on the counter. Basically what you're going to see. It's not like Daniel Farke's tactics are crazy complicated. It's set up in a low block, get the ball wide, put it in the box. It is what it is, but it's effective. Now, if you're going to hire managers, if you just want that kind of football, there was no need to bring in Amorim. You could literally shut your eyes, throw a rock, and hit a manager in England who plays that way. Kieran McKenna plays that way. Eddie Howe will play that way. Like a lot of people play that way. So it doesn't make sense. If you want someone who's a little bit more intricate, cool. But then you've got to get players that suit the system. And so there's a fine line to be had there. And I think that Amorim is finding themselves on the wrong side of it these days. But we'll see what happens. We could be back talking about a win on Sunday. We could be sitting here having the same conversation we're having now. But I want to know your thoughts, you guys. Please make sure you like. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Please go, if you have a couple moments on your phone, go and hype a couple of the videos that have popped up in the last few weeks. I do appreciate that. That does help us reach more of an audience. It does help the UVE community grow. It does help us get to 3K subs. But I think I'm going to jump over to Jarvis's channel, Tactical Devils. I did link up with Stu from Tactical Devils while Dylan and I were there, so I don't know if you guys saw that video. But until then, you guys, leave your comments with your thoughts. I'll be sure to get back to you, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for stopping by. It's good to be back. Glad to be back chatting with the live chat again. But take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I will see you soon.